This is a story we've been covering here at 41 NBC. Hundreds of residents living on and off Zebulon Road are upset over Macon-Bibb County's planning and zoning's vote to rezone land near their homes for commercial use. So what can they do about this decision? Our legal expert, Jay Davis, is here to weigh in. All right, let's kind of remind people of the facts of this case. We've got about 25 acres of land, sits right near two subdivisions, right next to Stonehenge and right across the street from Ashford Park. Now, it was rezoned, this land, for PDE, which is Project Development Extraordinary. Planning and Zoning said yesterday they've got to include some residential zoning in there. They've got to make some residential space in there, not just office and retailers. So, you know, that being said, the residents still aren't happy in that area. Right. So do they have grounds to take some sort of legal action at this point? Well,
they can take legal action. You can always challenge what a board, administrative board like this may do, like planning and zoning. And you can check and see if they complied with all the laws and make sure, and you can argue that there was some sort of taking, that they've diminished the property values, and that effectively was the government taking something from them that they didn't have the right to take. You can make all those kind of arguments, and usually you can make an argument about most anything, but that would be their argument in this case.
Okay, so now you don't know too many of the facts in this case, but let's kind of just stray in a general area so we don't, you know, kind of specify. When you buy a home and there are vacant properties near it that are zoned the same way as in residential, what legal rights do you have to step in and stop a rezoning from happening, if any? Do you have any?
You have the right to show up at the planning and zoning meeting, which is what a lot of these people have done. They've shown up and they've made their voice known to the board, and they've tried to fight this, and they've done a very good, I think they've done well uniting as a group to go up against them. But you don't have a right to control what the board does. And here the board didn't do what they wanted to do, and so there you have it.
Well, you know, what's the legal obligation then of the board, of an appointed board? Because they're not a voted-in board; they're an appointed board. So what's the legal obligation of them to go with the people?
There is no obligation to go with the people. Now you would hope that the people will control. They'll band together if they do something that's enormously unfair or something like that, that the people would do something and rise up as a group. But they're going to need more than just the local people in that area that are immediately affected. They're going to need people as a group to see that as being wrong or being an unjust taking, and to rise up against something along those lines. Okay. And here you've got an issue where you've got a parcel of land that's relatively undeveloped, or is undeveloped, and it's next to, sort of in two different sides. It's next to straight residential on one side and somewhat commercial on the other side, where there's a lot of business activity been generated. But the residents have been there more like 40 years. I mean, these houses have been there for a long time. There's some apartments relatively new, but then you have business that's been creeping up for a pretty good while. So, and that's maybe like more recently, like 20 years out. And when you look at an undeveloped parcel, you have to ask yourself, what developer wants to build new homes in that long of a neighborhood that's been established for that long? It may not be right away, so you have to look at what the other uses might be.
All right, Jay, as always, interesting to hear your thoughts on our matters. Let's quickly talk about what's coming up this weekend on It's the Law.
This week on It's the Law, we're going to be talking about all that's going on with this healthcare fiasco and what people's rights are. We're doing this month on, as we said last week, this month is Know Your Rights. So what are your rights with regard to this new healthcare? Not being able to keep what you had, maybe not getting what you want. So we'll look at those things.
All right, Jay, as always, thank you. And remember, you can catch Jay and his legal experts every Saturday on My 41.2. That's at 3 p.m. And on Sunday right here on 41 NBC at 6. Don't forget, if you've got a legal question for Jay, you can email us at itsthelaw@41nbc.com.